I made, yet again, another comic. Link in the description down below. I won't talk too much about it, but basically, it's the greatest wizard of all time trying to become the greatest stage magician of all time. It's going to be a kind of weird comedy, very different art style from my previous stuff. I think it turned out pretty good, but I'm trying to spend as little time as possible working on this. I know that sounds weird, but that's how I'm going to get stuff out now. I'll talk about it a little bit more. I got to get a couple shout outs out of the way. It's been a while. I haven't posted like a video, like an actual video, in forever. And in the background, I'm drawing a panel of the comic. So once again, check it out. I hope to update it every other week for now, and then hopefully get it going every week if we can. I hope we can do it. I think I can. Who knows? Maybe I'll do a sports comic next week, or do something even weirder the next. But yeah, shout out time. I'm actually recording this video right after Apollo from Pantheon Talks did a stream, a live critique stream of a comic called Ravens and Monsters, and actually my old comic 100 years later. Go check it out. Link will be in the description down below. Also go just check out their channel. I just kind of want to say, the comic YouTube sphere is just kind of like old school comic. That's kind of been around. Kind of like this new younger generation of like a webtoon, web comic focused YouTube scene, still kind of growing, I think. At least I think it is. And a lot of us are just artists, like me, myself, and most of the people I interact with. So it's really cool to see kind of a different style of YouTube channel that's kind of giving us the tools we need to kind of better ourselves as writers. Because there's a lot of tutorials on how to be a better artist and all that. I follow a lot of those, but there's not many on how to become a better writer and how to hook your audience more, how to kind of show more emotional depth. I'll be talking about that too. I got a lot of good stuff from that stream, so yeah, go check it out. And then I also host many more in the future. Just a couple more shout outs real quick. Since I haven't really made a video on this, I actually made a Discord. I think we got like 30 people in it so far. It's kind of a little well-hidden secret in my stream. Basically, it's a bunch of artists and webcomic creators hang out, talk, all that fun stuff. Usually, it's us just hanging out. So if you just want to hang out with some like-minded people, it's very casual. We're very open. I think we're all going to eventually make it a 18+ server. I'm just saying it's kind of enter at your own risk. We're not like gonna hold ourselves back. I know there's some people in the Discord who can't. I won't say any names, but they know who they are. But yeah, if you just want to come hang out with some people, do some fun stuff. Right now we got a collab going for the New Year's coming up. I hope to join that as well with the new comic, The Amazing Anton. And I hope to run a couple more events in the future. We'll probably be doing a character swap where we each kind of swap each other's characters to draw them in their style. And then possibly doing a short comic contest as well. Any other ideas anyone else has, we'll definitely do as well if we have time. And of course, it is casual. I've been a part of a lot of webcomic discords, and it feels very overwhelming to join it. I'm trying to make this very open to people, and if you want to be part of the Discord and just want to be a lurker, that's 100% fine. I do that myself. Everyone on the Discord can attest for that. I kind of just watch, and then I'll chime in every now and then. If that's what you kind of want, that can be the kind of server for you. But then enough of that. Also, since I haven't really talked about this in a video, I'm definitely going to be streaming a lot more, just no longer here on YouTube, over on Twitch, The Art of Mitch. That's actually all my stuff, just for symmetry's sake and ease of access. All of my Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Twitch. I think I can change my YouTube technically to that as well, but we'll just keep it as that, to The Art of Mitch, just for everything to be the same. I like it all the same. It's nice. They're all different for a while. But yeah, enough of that. Let's just kind of about the comic real quick. This is like the third comic I've written this year alone, and I hope to not write as many next year and just kind of continue one. I think this is the third comic I put out, but I've in the background I've written a couple more, and I just, this one is definitely a little bit different. I'm taking it very differently. I'm focusing more on the writing aspect of it, not necessarily the writing part or the art part. I'm just trying to do the art as fast as I can, and definitely focus more on the writing, because I definitely think the biggest issue a lot of creators have is the writing. And another topic of video I kind of want to bring up is kind of something I've always been thinking about of, if you can make it or not, if you can become a professional comic artist. It's a very hard industry to break into, as anything in the comic industry or the entertainment industry can be. If you do really want to be successful, I definitely think you have to kind of branch out a lot more, especially in this day and age. And kind of in that regard, I think I will become a professional artist in some capacity if you just give it enough time and work. With all the different variables, Twitch, YouTube, comic, Patreon, Ko-fi. There's just so many different things, and there's probably social medias that don't even exist yet that you might be able to also make money off of and do other things on, that you possibly couldn't just even think about right now. So kind of in that regard, I think a lot of people, if they do put the work in, they can be professional. I do believe that given enough time and work, I will become kind of a professional comic artist in that sense, whereas I kind of work on my comic or a comic and talk about it, and that's kind of mostly what I do. But there's kind of the sense of like becoming a professional comic artist, and that's all they do. Like how big artists, webcomic artists, that's they make enough money from just their comic alone to just work on that comic. That's really hard to kind of get into. And I've kind of been thinking like how to get to that level. What does it really take, and can I really even truly get to that level of like mythical, they are the creator of this amazing comic, they are like a god amongst men. And I honestly don't know. The one comparison I like to think about a lot is if you've ever read Bakuman or watched Bakuman, they always compare the two protagonists to be kind of methodical about how they create the manga, their stories. It kind of relates to that comic. And then they also relate it to another character. I cannot remember his name for the life of me. But he's kind of like a savant. He just knows how to write a good comic. Like it's his, like it's in his nature to just be able to do it so well. And there are people like that in pretty much every field. And definitely the ones who excel have some level of they just know how to do it without really even thinking about it. And I would like to think I have some of that a little bit. I think everyone does. It's just kind of if you read enough and you draw enough and you write enough, it will kind of just happen whether you see it happening or not, or you think it's happening or not. But yeah, there's just kind of instincts take over, and some people they can make an amazing comic on their first try. And I know a couple stories, on people on Webtoon where they were just artists and then they just made a comic and then it just blew up, and now they're working on that full time, and that was like their first comic they've ever made. And it's just an amazing story, amazing art, amazing readability, and they just knew how to do it like by instinct somehow. And I don't think I'm not necessarily being too hard on myself. I'll talk about that too. But I definitely don't think I have that true instinct some people have. And I think kind of most people don't. So kind of getting other people's opinions, kind of asking, kind of branching out, even though it might be hard to do that, you're going to get some, opinions that from other people that you may not have even thought about. Again, my comic 100 Years Later just got critiqued by Apollo, wonderful Apollo over on Pantheon Talks, and he kind of talked about something I had never even thought about. And I had a couple of people, edit my comic too, and they never really brought it up too. So having something I had never even thought about, or someone in my circle had never even thought up being brought up, so I can kind of think about it, was awesome. So stuff like that. And hopefully, not to shield the Discord, but again, we could possibly do something like that where we kind of critique and kind of get different opinions, so you can kind of think about stuff in different light. The one I really liked that Apollo said was kind of the emotional, kind of showing the emotional side of your characters. And that's something, I looking back on it now, I mean, it's in my head, right? I have it, I feel like in my head, our stories in everyone's head, your stories are kind of just well written and it makes sense in your head. but just kind of translating to paper, you kind of leave stuff out that maybe should have been put there. So you kind of have to think about it a bit more. You kind of have to show, their emotion, what they're thinking, what's their motivation, what's their goals. Maybe it doesn't have to be as super obvious as, I want to be, the ninja president or, the pirate king, but something. It just needs to kind of move the plot forward. Why should the reader be interested? And yeah, definitely you just got to keep looking at the perspective of what does the reader want? It's really hard to critique your own comic, unfortunately, because you're just so invested into it and you're just so in it. And you know everything that's going on. Even if it may not be clear to the readers what's going on, it makes 100% sense to you. So it's really hard to kind of see the reader's point of view unless you actually go out and seek it. And unfortunately, not all of us are just magical beings who can just create the perfect comic without even trying. We kind of have to kind of study and figure it out if you do want to make a great comic and if you do want this to become a profession. And I definitely just need to keep putting in the hard work to kind of get to that point. And just one last point of how I've noticed this is, people kind of say it, and I also say it to other people, is, a lot of people say I'm hard on myself, and, kind of ease up. And I also say that to other people, if someone seems kind of down and they're kind of hard on themselves, I go, don't be so hard on yourself, kind of chin up, don't be too hard on yourself. So it's kind of funny that I still do it, even though I tell people not to do it. But it's a weird line, because there's definitely, you need to be a little bit strict on yourself, at least in my opinion. At least I like being hard on myself because that kind of motivates me more. Some people might not be a good response. Some people, they kind of go too far with it, and it can lead to other stuff not related to comics that are not good. But that's a little off topic, but just kind of, if you do, at least in my opinion, if you do want to grow as a writer, as an artist, if you can pinpoint what is wrong and what can be improved, and you're kind of open to that, that's going to make you a better writer and an artist in the long run. And that's something I've been trying to focus a little bit more on lately. If there is one comic I want to write, it's my space comic Helios, and that's the comic I kind of think about all day, every day. But I kind of want to wait until my skill levels are kind of at a certain point where I feel a little bit more comfortable getting there. And I know that's also can be dangerous because you may never think you're good enough, but I am going to try to work on it this year, because I know that can be a dangerous trap of thinking you're never good enough to kind of write this comic or come up with this idea or write it properly. I do want to kind of start it when I can. But yeah, this is kind of a weird video, as usual, ranty video, as I do best. You know how it is. But yeah, thanks for watching. Check out the comic. If you're watching this Saturday morning, I should be streaming Saturday night, probably around 7 or 8. We'll see. And I hope to kind of stream more in the future. And with the webcomic or the webtoon contest coming up, hopefully next March or February. They might not just even do one. Who knows? Hopefully they do. But with that coming up, I plan to kind of stream a lot during that. Just kind of hang out with everyone and kind of force myself to draw, because there's some days I definitely don't want to draw, even though I probably should, to kind of keep up the muscle memory going. But yeah, come swing by and say hello.